Well, hello guys. Welcome back to another episode of Everyday EDC. My name is Tyler, and today I am trying to find the page of my notes where this review of the Kansept Little Main Street starts. Alright, so this is the Kansept Little Main Street. It's actually kind of cool. And I originally gave it like a bad first impressions because it looks like a dog treat first and foremost. I mean, the Micarta looks kind of like beef jerky, but only for dogs. We do have a titanium pocket clip going on right here. This show side is actually all Micarta. There is no liner on there. There's just something that rides up here for the bearings and the pivot. There's some barrel spacers going on here with some mild, I'm not going to call these jimping. It's more just like cutouts in the pommel of it, and what that really does is it's supposed to add a little bit of grip, and you really don't need it with this small guy, but it's cool. It adds a little bit of design. You have those same little jimping pieces or mild little cutouts over here. You have some scalloping going right here so that you can access the liner just a little bit easier. This is a 154 cm blade. Is it CPM 154? Let's see. No, 154 cm. Okay, so it's a 154 cm blade that Blade HQ calls a reverse Tonto. I mean, I think there's another name for this, and it's called Warncliffe, but anyways, I digress. There's some more like little jimping nuggets going on right up through here on either side, and it's kind of cool because it's just different. It adds a little bit of texture, but not textured like jimping. We have some thumb studs going on here, by the way, full flat grind, and a Dirk Pinkerton design, if I didn't mention that. So we're cruising right along here with this little guy. Dirk Pinkerton design, full flat grind on this Warncliffe little blade, and you know what? I gave it a really bad first impression, and it does have some things that I don't necessarily agree with, but it has one really big flaw, and then it actually, other than that, really grew on me. And this is a very, very fidget-friendly little beast. You can reverse flick it, no problem. Thumb flick it, no problem. I mean, it's really kind of fun, actually. We have some chamfering all down the spine of the blade. No swedge, but some chamfering to knock down the edges. So what I can say about Kansept, I can say this about Kansept. They paid a lot of attention to this design. Now, whether or not I can say they paid attention to this design or Dirk Pinkerton did, because Dirk Pinkerton's awesome, is neither here nor there. But that there's so many little things going on here. Recessed liners that I forgot to mention. That it's a lot packed into a little knife, and so I think it's pretty cool. With all that being said, and kind of ripping right through the beginning portion of this, let's get to some stats. First and foremost, I bet you guys are wondering, is this over the 6-ounce mark? Just kidding. This thing is tiny. This is coming in at a whopping 1.45 ounces. Holy smokes, ladies and gentlemen. Do we have a knife that is smaller than the Benchmade Mini Bug Out? I believe so. I believe the Mini Bug Out's coming in at 1.6. Don't quote me on that, but I'm fairly certain that's what the specs are. Now, granted, with the Mini Bug Out, I think the blade is a little bit longer. Don't quite remember. But the overall length of this knife is coming in at 5.5 inches. The blade length is coming in at just about 2.5. So your real overall ratios are pretty good there. Plus, your blade to length ratio is really freaking good. And that's a cool thing. Like I said, they packed a lot of detail into this little beast of a knife. Let's get you some blade stock thickness of this bad boy. Blade stock thickness coming in at 120 thousandths, so it's still got a little bit of heft in the blade for such a small knife, but it's coming at 17 thousandths behind the edge. That is absolutely fantastic. Sorry about that little interjection. As I said, 16 thousandths behind the edge. This thing's ultra slicey. It's so very functional. The overall handle thickness coming in at 0.4 inches. So it's coming just on the slightly thin side of most knives. But for being so small, I mean, it's still all right. The overall height in your pocket's coming in at 1.05 inches. And once again, put that in perspective, your Manix 2 is coming in at 1.74, your PM3 is coming in at 1.66, and your Spyderco PM2 is coming in at a 1.60. Speaking of the Spyderco PM2, I do not have one in my lineup anymore, but I do have the Spyderco Little Native. I also have the Spyderco Tenacious. I'm going to show all the knives this time because it's kind of cool to see how ridiculously small this guy is. Next on the list, we have our Feldspar sandwich. I have my regular size Feldspar and your mini Feldspar coming in right there. Yeah, looks pretty darn good, you know, a little bit smaller than those. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I got a text message while that was going, and my dumb self tried to read it. Like, what? Just let it go. Here is your Rat Model 1 and your Rat Model 2. I don't really need to comment on the size. I'm just giving you guys something to look at for size reference. You guys can look at the size yourself. I don't really see a need to really explain. Here's your Civivi Elementum and S35VN and your Civivi Brazen. There's one more knife that I want to compare this to that it really does remind me of before I get into the recap, the overall thoughts, my likes, my dislikes. So the last knife I really want to compare it to is your Launch 10. Your Launch 10 is actually slightly smaller, but not by much. But the blade shapes are eerily similar. Yes, you have a hawk-shaped knife or a hawk-shaped blade on the Launch 10, but I mean, other than that, they're very, very similar looking blade shapes, which leads into that's kind of why I liked this knife once I started using it. I love my Launch 10. It's not like the most manly of manly knives. It's just so functional. It's one of those things that you can really just do a whole hell of a lot with a whole hell of a little, right? And this really reminds me of that. But since we're on the topic, this also led this thing to kind of bite the crap out of my fingers. And here's how. So I was holding it like this, right? Just like I hold my Launch 10. And I was pressing down. See if it'll do it. And this is kind of loose. See if it'll do it here. I gotta be careful. I can't really get it to do it on command because I'm kind of scared to do it. But this liner gives in. And it's not doing it. I must have either worn it in enough or not. I don't know. If you don't flick it out well enough, there's times where it doesn't lock up quite right. And I'm doing a bad job of showing it. But maybe I've played with it enough to where it doesn't have that issue anymore. But in the beginning, it was not locking up right. And it was just snapping down on my fingers. And it literally cut the living crap out of my knuckles. It's actually gotten... This thing is the smallest knife that has scared me the most out of all my knife life here. So as a quick overview of this, we have... I didn't really show you guys the screws. So this is a T8. And these little screws are going to be T6. Let's see here. Yep, little screws of T6, pivot screws of T8. I'll show you guys the inside. That's what this guy looks like. So it's pretty bare bones on the inside. No milling, no nothing. But literally it's like one slab of micarta. All right, so it's a quick overview. Once again, micarta T8, T6 body screws. We have one side that has the liners, the other side does not have the liners. I'm sure there's some steel part up here that's actually riding on the bearings because you're not going to have bearings riding on micarta. But these liners are recessed, and there's some scalloping on this micarta on this side so you can access the liner a little bit better. I love the liner because it does not have any jimping. I think that's fantastic. We have some cool little jimping-esque cutouts right here on both sides that maybe add a little bit of traction, maybe not really sure. Some barrel spacers going on here. And then we have a titanium pocket clip. I only knew that was titanium because I tried to use a magnet and it was not magnetic. But that doesn't list it anywhere. It's kind of weird. Like usually you broadcast that. Here's a stop pin right there. And then we have those same little cutouts in the blade going up and down the sides. We have a chamfered spine of the blade with this Wharncliffe with 154 cm blade steel from Kansept. Now, thumb studs, action is pretty darn good. for such a small knife, it is actually really fidgety, even though I'm failing with the reverse flick now. The reverse flick's really fun to do. All right, once again, sorry for that interruption. I think I pretty much went through the whole overview, and this is a Dirk Pinkerton design, and Dirk Pinkerton absolutely kills it. That man's designs, everyone that I've felt have been awesome. And the last one that sticks in my mind, I believe, is the Artisan Cutlery Arroyo. Stupid slicey. It feels like all his knives he designs are very purposefully built with a little bit of design flair. So what do I like about this knife? First and foremost, the convenience of this is pretty awesome, right? It's relatively slender, very, very light, very, very fidgety, and super functional. The other thing I like we just talked about, the weight. I think I wrote down weight before I knew it weighed 1.45 ounces. I mean, in hand, you don't feel it. It's just something you just don't feel in hand. And while I like something a bit more robust, right? This thing's, I appreciate where they're going with this and how light they actually made a functional tool. Carry factor, we kind of talked about that. The titanium clip, which I noticed at the end of the review study that I was doing, is actually, it looks really nice. A lot of times they slap titanium on there and they just jack up the price. And so you're like, god damn titanium. Great, now I have to pay an extra $10 for this knife. And maybe that's the case here, but I think it actually fits the bill. The only thing that they could have done better, in my opinion, is make these barrel spacers maybe titanium or something of that nature, which I'm sure is not the easiest thing to do. But or at least stonewash them or something that make it look matching towards the pocket clip. That would have looked really cool. Last, well, not last, blade. I love the blade. I think the blade's awesome and super functional, and it's going to be really convenient. You guys are going to look at this and say, a 2.5-inch knife, what the hell am I going to do with that? Realistically, guys, this is pretty much all you need for most of your tasks. Awesome draw cuts. You can open up anything you need, slice anything open you need, and it has an awesome fidget factor. So this knife's almost a complete winner. What don't I like about this? Well, I just mentioned it. It's a little bit too small for my preference, but that's a preference, more of a subjective than objective view on my dislikes. The real dislike, which I was unable to demonstrate here, and I'm not really willing to commit to it fully because it scares the crap out of me. It just, and I can't do it anymore. So maybe it broke in, but that liner cut the crap out of me because it kept giving in, and I was finding ways to start to try and fail it after that, and I was getting it to fail quite frequently. Even though I can't demonstrate it here on the review, I kind of don't want to damage it, and if it's already found its home and it doesn't need to do it anymore, that's cool. Maybe it broke in and maybe my dislike goes away. So what are you guys asking about the price for? I don't know. That was a weird interjection to tell you guys this thing's about $73 for the Micarta version. I think the other versions, and it comes in 6 or 7 different forms, I believe the other versions are coming in at $72. So can I recommend this knife for $72, or I'm sorry, not $72, $69? So can I recommend this knife for $69 to $72? Yeah, kind of. For the materials that you're getting and the quality that you're getting in this, I do believe I can recommend it, as long as I just had kind of a fluke situation where that liner wasn't locking up properly. If that isn't an existence actual problem with this thing, and it's just kind of maybe I was doing something dumb, then by all means, yes, for $72 for the materials, for the design, and for the time and attention to detail that this thing actually has, yeah, it's definitely worth the $72. That is all I got for you guys today. My name is Tyler. This has been the Kansept Little Main Street. I am eventually going to get my hands on the regular size Main Street. And that's just once again, a weird interjection. Guys, I'm having trouble talking to myself today. There's something weird about it. My name's Tyler. This has been Everyday EDC. You guys stay sharp. Stay safe. Have a great freaking day, guys. Thanks for watching. Hey, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It genuinely means a lot. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment. If you didn't like it, give me some feedback in the comments below, and hit the thumbs down button. In case you guys don't know, I do have a Patreon, which will be listed right here. In that Patreon, we're giving bi-monthly giveaways to just the Patreons based on the number of Patreons that we have in the Patreon. We will also be giving discounts on all the knives that I sell based on the number of patrons. My name is Tyler.
This is Everyday EDC. You guys stay sharp, stay safe, and have a great day.